On March 29, 2024, Girl Talks Ball quoted a highlight of Cameron Brink getting her 5th block in the first half with, "It's like the Cameron Diaz factory decided to put out a Kevin Durant." This is the Museum of Twitter, the show we talk about the most important tweets in the history of Twitter.com. It's Sports Tweet Saturday, and I know I've not done enough Sports Tweet Saturdays about women's sports, and so I decided to do one about the WNBA, one that I see get referenced a lot, and one that I think is just very funny. Now, I did have some hesitance about doing this because, I don't want one of the first women's sports tweets I covered to be in part about how attractive the woman in question is, but I think this is just one of the most clever sports observations I've ever seen, which is why it is constantly referenced talking about Cameron Brink both on and off the court. By the way, this is the blocking question that Girl Talks Ball was quoting. This was from Cameron Brink's time at Stanford. And people immediately agreed with Girl Talks Ball. Pratik said, "This is actually the best way I've ever seen someone describe her, lol." Q said, "Might be the most accurate description of Cameron Brink I've ever heard." And a few weeks later, Girl Talks Ball followed up her own tweet with a quote of Cameron Brink getting a block, just reiterating her point. And I think why the tweet gets referenced, and it gets referenced plenty, including on the WNBA subreddit. Like when Re4 compared her to Cameron Diaz, Lambert Profession said, "I'll never forget the tweet that said Brink was if the Cameron Diaz factory made a Kevin Durant." Or when asked about favorite nicknames, Odessa turned and said, "Not a nickname, but I saw Cameron Brink is what if the Cameron Diaz factory made a Kevin Durant, and I always think about that when I see her." But the reason it's so funny is because it's not Cameron Brink is Cameron Diaz if she was good at basketball. It's if the Cameron Diaz factory made a Kevin Durant. It introduces the idea of the Cameron Diaz factory. There's a factory that's just pumping out beautiful women, and one time they're like, what if we were to release a model that's really tall and really good at basketball? And because it involves both Cameron Diaz and Kevin Durant, like I said, it gets referenced both on and off the court. B referenced it when Cameron Brink had her first WNBA game against the Atlanta Dream, and it gets referenced a lot whenever Cameron Brink comes to a game wearing an awesome outfit. Some people, like Carl Sanders, just steal it completely, saying she's like if you went to the Cameron Diaz factory and ordered a Kevin Durant. Or some swag said the Kevin Durant of Cameron Diaz's. Wakandan Tech Support said that one tweet about her that was like the Cameron Diaz factory decided to make a Kevin Durant might be the funniest thing I read on here last year. And even people who speak Portuguese are repeating it. Now, not everyone agrees with it. Not because they dispute that she's a beautiful woman who looks like Cameron Diaz, but Dirt, Met, Lee, and Jay said, "Someone said Cameron Brink is like if the Cameron Diaz factory made a Kevin Durant version. Whole time Brink is a defensive stalwart play finisher who doesn't initiate. These WNBA casuals." And I love this. Isn't this how you know that the W has gotten a real fan base? Because this is not an argument about oh, it's insulting that says she looks like Cameron Diaz. It's no. If you're gonna say that the Cameron Diaz factory made an NBA player, at least get one that is a good comp for Cameron Brink. And by the way, last May when Kevin Durant actually met Cameron Brink, it was not lost on people that this was the first time that these two people met, and people referenced a tweet, not least of which was Girl Talks Ball who referenced it. And honestly, all you can say about her is good for her. Julia stole the end of the tweet from Girl Talks Ball, but I think that this is absolutely right. Her face card is insane, and she's legit 10 feet 2. It's like the Cameron Diaz factory decided to randomly print a Kevin Durant errata. But now that I'm thinking about it, maybe the Cameron Diaz factory was always putting out Kevin Durant. It's Cameron Diaz is pretty tall, and we don't know if she ever picked up a basketball. I don't know, maybe there's an alternate timeline where instead of there's something about Mary, there's Cameron Diaz from 3! Follow me for a new tweet every day, and if you'd like the show, please go to patreon.com/Museum of Twitter. We get a weekly bonus episode called Museum of Not Twitter, and you get to vote on what to cover on Subscriber Sundays.